Right, welcome to this overview and Tactica video for the Blood Angels. It's a force that I've really enjoyed collecting. A really nice looking army, aggressive looking, and enjoyed constructing the force. Quite small, but sort of highly powered and geared towards close combat. Very aggressive army, and aggressive with that kind of red colour. So it's been an enjoyable army to put together. It's finished now, and in this video we're going to run over the whole force, and then the Tactica for each unit, and then the overall army plan and how this army will function in games of 40k. Inspiration for the force is just standard Blood Angels. Didn't try any of the other similar chapters. Standard Blood Angels I went for. One thing I did like the look of, and that was Blood Angels Assault Marines. Love the yellow helmets. So you'll see those coming up in the force that I used, painted on yellow helmets. I thought they looked really good. Managed to incorporate them into the force. I like the Death Company. I love the new figures that they produced, and the Terminators and the Dreadnought. So inspiration, just standard Blood Angels with that nice sort of aggressive red colour. Knew this was going to be a sort of a high-powered army, sort of one that's geared towards assault and sort of heavy hitting power. If you like the colour scheme that you see and the technique that's been used, I do have a full painting tutorial for painting Blood Angels. You'll be able to see that. I take one of the Blood Angels Terminators from the Space Hulk set and just take you through step by step exactly how I get that technique done, and how to use the different special effects to get those results, and you'll be able to apply that same technique. It's the same method I used for all of the vehicles and the different units as well. So again, best advice is start with your codex, and then look for it. Choose the units that you really like, ones that you absolutely definitely want in the army. Buy a couple of units, get them painted, and as you go along you'll start to think of a force, and then you can use that small force that you've got, 500 points, whatever, practice using it in games, ally with a friend, and you'll soon see what works, what doesn't work. So then you can gradually start adding your units on top of that, and then so you're working out your list and then getting those units as you go along, and it saves you buying a whole load of stuff, and then you can just gradually build up your force and enjoy that process. So I just build up some lists here, different ones that have worked. I've tried lots of different lists with Blood Angels. I wanted a force that was different, separate from regular Space Marines, something different. Something more aggressive than a regular Space Marine army, and then hopefully you'll see that in this Tactica video. But we're going to look at each unit, why I chose it, how each unit will interact with the other units that I have, and then have an overall game plan and strategy for this force. Right, so for Blood Angels, a couple of special rules for them. They get Descent of Angels, they scatter less than other units, encourage you to deep strike stuff, and then this red first. It's only on a roll of a 1 that you're going to get it, so you don't bank on it in a game. It's just an added bonus, but don't really expect it for any of your units. So they're regular Space Marines, and it was for that reason I didn't go for tactical squads. Boring really. That's just for regular Space Marines, you know, Ultramarines, Imperial Fists. They're the ones that have tactical squads, but for Blood Angels wanted something different. So we're just going to flick to the back here, and you'll see how I've structured this force. So for HQ, I have a lot of these characters. Blood Angels characters very expensive, and Blood Angels army is quite expensive to collect anyway as far as points are concerned, so your army is going to be small. So what I went for was a small HQ choice. Just went for a Chaplain Reclusiarch. So went for the Reclusiarch, 130 points. Stats are pretty good, but really it was his abilities that I was after. It's the units that I have in the force are going to do the main fighting, not a great character that's going to win the day. I know other people play differently, but that's sort of philosophy for this force. So it's a minimal HQ choice that I went for, and then chose it because of the abilities that he can grant to other units. So I went for Reclusiarch, 130 points, no upgrades. It comes with a decent enough weapon, and then the abilities, they come as part of the package. So we'll go on to troops next, just to help this make sense here. So for this force, as with other forces, I like to do a defensive force and then have an attacking force. Part of your force is going to go out, attack, take objectives, neutralise enemy units. The defensive force is mainly to defend itself, survive, and then to claim objectives towards the end of the game. So for troops, we'll cover our defensive troops first of all. First thing I went for was a cheap troops choice, and that is an assault squad. And I did them without jump packs. I thought that if I took 5 with jump packs, yes, they can move around, but they're sort of exposed. I can imagine the opponent picking them off and could be in a bit of trouble. So what I went for was the assault squad at 100 points. You get 5 marines, and then no bolt guns or sort of for bolt pistols and chainswords, so they're all pretty good for combat. Still got the firepower of the pistols, but with the extra attacks there for carrying the combat weapons. So it's that kind of close combat feel that I wanted to the force. Took some of the Def Company bits and added them in just to give them a nice Blood Angels feel. And then with the points that I had to spare, spare points to give the sergeant a power weapon. I know it's a power X here, but it counts as using it as a power weapon for the purposes of the game. She's got some combat potential in there. I mean, don't usually want to use them in combat, but if they're called upon, then 5 marines with a power weapon and all these close combat weapons, they can take on some opponents and generally do pretty well. So 100 points. If you drop the jump packs, then you get a discount if you buy a dedicated transport. 35-point discount. So I took a Razorback for them, and then with the Razorback you get 35 points off, so I've got a transport vehicle for 20 points with the heavy bolter on top. So those guys now can be put inside the Razorback. They're better protected and still got that mobility with the vehicle moving around. So minimal points cost here. The idea is that I spend a smaller amount of points on troops and then push all of the points into the elites section of the army. And they're the ones that are going to run around, do the fighting, take the casualties, and then it's the troops at the end of the game that swoop in and take the objectives. That's the philosophy behind this force. So 1 Razorback, 5-man assault squad, cheap enough, pretty well protected, and pretty mobile, so I'm quite happy with that. They're in the force there. So that's 1 troop's choice. And then again I went for another 5-man assault squad, kitted out the same way, so with the assault weapons there and then a power weapon for the sergeant. So it's another troop's choice, and this time with the spare points that I had, instead of taking the Razorback, I took a Land Raider, which counts as a dedicated transport for Blood Angels. So Land Raider is in the force. Advantage of this one is that this little squad can assault out of this vehicle, and they are very well protected inside. Armour 14 all the way around, heavy bolter, 2 las cannons, twin linked. So now this protective vehicle can give long range firepower support to the assault force as it goes in. So this can happily sit at the back behind a bit of cover and then letting off 2 twin link las cannon shots each turn, and with heavy bolter. I'm happy with that one. A lot tougher, and supporting fire coming in for the rest of the force as it goes in for the assault. So 215 points for this Land Raider. Can deep strike as well, would you believe it? But that's the troop section of the army down. Now, quite tough, pretty good firepower, but still pretty good going on points, and it frees up a whole chunk of the force to be dedicated into the assault part of the army. Right, so we've got troops, that's done, we've got our HQ, and then just the way this army is structured, I'm going to go into heavy support first. You'll see why a bit later. So I added one other unit as a defensive unit, and this is to give support to the attack, and that is Blood Angel's Predator. Do like the Bow Predator, but for the philosophy of this force, went for a Predator Annihilator. 180 points when it's kitted out, twin link las cannon top, 2 las cannon sponsons, front armor 13, stick it behind cover, and it's just there to pour in extra las cannon firepower. The assault based armor I've got, it's been a nice idea to get infantry piling into the opponent, and then if you're able to break open some transports and destroy some of the heavy armor resistance, that'll make their job a bit easier. So Predator Annihilator, and now you can see, imagine at the back of the battlefield you've got your Annihilator sitting there, and now the Land Raider, you've got 1, 2, 3 twin link las cannons and 2 las cannons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potential las cannon hits there, and coming from vehicles that are pretty well protected from the front. So happy with that. That just gave an extra boost to the defensive section of the army, because the assault stuff flying around is going to be all over the place, may not be able to assist the defence, but some las cannon firepower coming in from that Predator just gives a bit of an extra edge. So that's heavy support there. 2 slots left, and I've taken 2 Storm Raven gunships. So 2 Storm Raven gunships. This is the aggressive part of the army. I thought about how am I going to get my aggressive units into combat, and to make this a force that's different from other Space Marine armies, went for 2 Storm Raven gunships. Very aggressive. You can imagine these things, nice big red bright colours flying across the table. So they have a twofold job to do. At speed, they are designed to get your units across the table, and these flyers is a good way to go about doing it. And then the weapon options, they're not designed for killing infantry. That's the job of the units that are inside them. Their job is to take on the heaviest of opponents, so enemy heavy vehicles, monstrous creatures and transport vehicles. So to that end, I've equipped them with twin linked multi-melter at the front of each, and then also twin linked las cannon. So you've got that heavy firepower option there, plus the support from these rockets, which are actually really good. Strength 8 AP1. You can let out a hail of heavy firepower, either at monstrous creatures, or you can fire it at heavy vehicles. And also importantly, you can take on enemy flyers as well. This is the only anti-fly stuff that I've got. Good thing about these, armor 12 all the way around, resistant to multi-melter fire, so a tough transport, a tough flyer, and I think these would be an effective way for transporting the units across the table. So no upgrades there. I haven't gone for the side sponsons or whatever, just keeping the cost of them down because I anticipate they might get blown up. So they're just 200 points each, and I think they're good value for money, and they match that sort of aggressive style that we're looking for from this force. So now really all that's left is how we're going to kit these out. This is the assault part of the force, and you're looking to put my assault units inside of these. Good thing about them as well, you can put them in reserve. The opponent's not sure where they're going to come on, where they're going to end up. It adds that element of surprise to the force. You're in control of your reserves as they arrive, and the reach on them, the distance they can travel in a turn, is excellent, and still able to fire at the end of it. So definitely happy with that choice. Much better than trying to put your assault stuff in vehicles and then trying to charge the vehicles across the table. The opponent knows where you've deployed them, they know where you're driving them to, but with this you've got that element of surprise, and that means that you're in more control of the game. So we'll do one at a time. So the first one here, with the landing gear down, is for my Terminator combination. So Terminators is in your elite section. So what I've gone for is a Terminator Assault Squad. So Terminator Assault Squad, which is here, and really happy with the way these have come out. I actually bought the shoulder pads from Forge World. They've done special Blood Angels ones and made such a difference. A lot better than the regular kit. Get nice shoulder pads on the side here, and then some really nice ones on the left hand shoulder pad there. So they're 200 points, and then for 25 points extra I've given them thunder hammers and storm shields. So they are tough, and you can pretty much throw them in against anything, and that's an option that you want in your Blood Angels force. You need units that can take on anything, because these have got to chase the toughest of opponents, perhaps charging multiple opponents. They need to survive firepower, they need to survive in combat, so they need to be tough in armour and then able to hit back hard, and then Assault Terminators was the best option. So those go inside here, so they're being protected inside the transport's flying across the table, and then when it's ready it can let these guys out and they can assault, because it counts as an assault vehicle. Then what I've done, with the Storm Raven you have the option of carrying a Dreadnought, and I've taken advantage of that, and in support of these guys I've gone for a Furioso. Dreadnought, 125 points, no upgrades. I've kept the multi-melter on this side with the Talon here, and then I've gone for a frag cannon. So in the game, if these guys get out, they need a bit of help, bit of fire support, bit of combat support. The Dreadnought can get out at the same time and can give them some fire support, and can also assault as well. Or the Dreadnought or these guys can stay in and you can just deploy one of the units. So again, flexibility in your assault there, but the potential for 2 units to come out of that vehicle is a really good idea, I think. So that's worked out well. So we'll move that one away. It's a 2-pronged attack, so there's that option, and then the other Storm Raven flying in, armed in the same pattern, but this time went for a unit that I really like the look of and just had to include it. It was for me it was a compulsory choice to put these in the army. That's the Death Company. Lovely figures, and I've included those, and I've gone for I felt that the jump packs option was expensive, plus they're exposed, they can be shot at, templated by other units and heavy support, take them time to get across the battlefield, 12 inches at a time. So I've left out the jump packs, saved the points, and decided to transport them in the Storm Raven. And the combination that I've gone for I think works quite well. One thunder hammer, that's my tank busting capability there. If you arm the whole unit with thunder hammers, it's a bit overkill. If someone shoots the first few guys with thunder hammers, that's going to cost you a lot in points, 30 points for this. So the idea is to bury the thunder hammer guy in amongst the rest of the unit. To go with him, this is for anti-armoured infantry here, 2 Death Company armed with power swords. So they've now got that AP3 capability, and plenty of attacks for them, 2 attacks basic, 1 for weapons, 1 on the charge. Then that's a great option there. And then I wanted in the unit some guys to protect them, to keep these 3 alive. So what I went for was just 4 regular Death Company, a couple with bolters, couple with the close combat weapons, and they're just designed to be a shield to these guys. The charge into combat or on Overwatch, a couple of casualties taken, it's no problem, you're still protecting the core of your actual force. Right, then to add to the Death Company there, just taking advantage of the ability for this flyer to carry a Dreadnought, added in the Death Company Dreadnought. Really like the figure, or the vehicle, and then had to go for those Talons there. Just 125 points just for the Talons, and it's just that extra combat support. You throw this into a soft target and it will mince away. Excellent unit to take, so real strong close combat potential from both of these flyers, and that's I think an effective assault force. Well protected, fast, and then strong hitting power as well. Right, so there's the Blood Angels force. You've got the Reclusiarch there is the HQ, and he's in with the Def company, giving him that ability of potential in combat. And then also in with the Storm Raven there, you've got the Def company Dreadnought, and then in the other part of the assault force, you've got the Terminators and the Furiosa and Dreadnought. So you've got high power firepower here, and then you've got strong close combat units, and that's the assault half of the army. It's designed to fly in, destroy and neutralise targets, contest objectives, deny the opponent their position. And then the defensive force here, nice clean cut between the two. Two troops choices, protected inside transports, and then some nice long range firepower to support. So it's very straightforward, this army. You know exactly what you're doing. Each unit's clear distinction between defence and attack. It's very compact, but it has seen success so far in games that we've played. But that's the philosophy behind this Blood Angels force. As I said, check out the channel for battle reports. There's plenty of Blood Angels battle reports already out there, and you'll see this particular army in action. Wiped out opponents on a couple of occasions. And check out the painting tutorial as well that I've got, how to paint Blood Angels. It's a technique that you can apply to all of the Blood Angels units and vehicles. And keep a lookout for future games featuring this army as they take on different opponents in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. So thanks for watching this Tactica and army overview, and tune in next time.